Can we all rise for the pledge of allegiance? Rise to the front. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wow, look at the person beside you and say, you make this place look really good. Now look back and say, I'm just kidding. So good to have everyone tonight. Thank you so much for coming out to the Litchfield Chamber of Commerce Forum. How many's looking forward to this evening? Some of you have been waiting a long time. I know the candidates are like, let's get this party started and get it behind us. But we want to thank everyone for coming tonight. And we're looking forward to getting to know one another, obviously, and then we want to see what the candidates have to say. There's a few rules that we'd like to address and go over. Everyone say rules. Rules. Oh, come on, some of you. Everyone say rules. Rules. How many likes rules? Can I see your hand? How many are like, do as I say, not as I do? Each candidate, number one, each candidate will have the opportunity to introduce themselves and give a background on who they are and why they are running for their position.
Should we introduce ourselves?
Not yet.
Does anybody know who this guy is? I'm Candy Mazza. I'm the Vice President of the Chamber.
I'm Adam Ortega, Citizen of the Year.
He likes to throw that out there.
Someone asked me if I was running for a seat, and I said, no, I'm just Citizen of the Year. That's it.
Okay, rule number 2, all candidates in each group will hear the question asked at the same time. We will take turns with each candidate going first to answer the questions.
All candidates will have 3 minutes to answer a question. No candidate will interrupt another candidate while they're answering. If you go over time, we will interrupt the candidate by simply saying, thank you, Mr. Ortega, or whoever is speaking, and move on to the next candidate.
Any candidate who disrupts another candidate would automatically have their mic muted, which we can do that, and be given a warning to not do so again. If another disruption occurs, the candidate will be removed from the forum. We do not want to see that. Please be kind and courteous and respect each other and the time you are given to speak on each topic.
And last but not least, to all you that are in the audience, please be respectful of all the candidates and their time on stage. If any outbursts come from an individual in the audience, you will be automatically removed from the building. You won't have to pass go or collect $200. It is the Chamber's honor and privilege to be hosting this event for the candidates and for you. Please enjoy the evening and the information you will receive tonight. It is vital to the future of Litchfield community. Please remember to vote early or go to the polls on Tuesday, April 1st. Again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, I'm Adam Ortega, Candy Mazza. Let's get this party started.
We're going to start with school board. We have one candidate who, they're all running unopposed, who is here this evening, who has not held this seat before. So she would like to come up and let you guys know who she is. So Mandy Jewell. Good evening, Mandy.
Mic working? Yeah.
Yes, it is. Would you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
So hi everyone, my name is Mandy Jewell. For those that don't know me, I moved here in 2016 with my son. Tevin is in actually 7th grade right now. I have been in the community for about 8 years now, and every day that I've been here, I've been welcomed and felt like I was a part of the community right away. I have spent a lot of time volunteering. I don't know if you guys know, but I was on the chamber from 2019 through COVID until 2023. I held this seat as president, and I was happy to hand that over when I was done. I needed a little bit of break. At this time, I'm currently on the board for the SEI Prairie Works Board. So being a part of the community and starting that innovation center, I've been very honored to be a part of that. I volunteered in all kinds of activities around the city. I've helped coach baseball for my son's team 3 years in a row. I was a DIN leader for Cub Scouts for a few years. And now I'm just very interested in being on the school board and helping with that opportunity.
Okay, so your first question, which you kind of led to this a little bit, what in your background leads you to believe that you would be an effective school board member? Why are you running for school board? What are your qualifications?
Thank you, Candy. What are my qualifications? I am currently the Director of Human Resources at Dometic. In my role, I get to help people, I get to help my employees, and I see a few of them here this evening. I also am a part of strategy, financial business. I understand the financials, and I understand you have to be physically responsible. And in the school board, that is one thing that we need to make sure we're doing to help our students, our administrators, and also anybody that participates within sports or activities, etc.
Awesome. Thank you, Mandy. Question number 2, do you believe the district is doing enough to support students with special needs, development delays, and so forth? If not, what improvements would you like to advocate for?
That is a good question, Adam. I believe that we have a first step with the SCI Center. So as much of you guys know that years ago, college was the first choice and the only choice for a lot of us. And now the industry, we are losing, year after year, we're losing people with technical skills. So the Innovation Center is my first priority. It has been for the last few years. I want to see that continue to grow and us offer classes in technology and industry for students that don't want to go to college. Now, for those with disabilities or need special assistance, I want to see those programs grow. I want to see us have the financial assistance to do that, especially when it comes to state funding. That is a big contributor for those programs, so I want to make sure we are looking for those students and giving them opportunities the same as all other students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And your last question, what do you feel the importance of extracurricular activities like sports and clubs is to the students of the district?
Thank you, Candy. A good question. So extracurricular activities, I think every student should have the opportunity to participate in something that they love, from that being sports or chess club, scholastic, whatever it may be that they're interested in. Those opportunities, they help build relationships, friendships. They also give them the opportunity to be a part of teams, and we all know as adults that that's a big part of who we are. We have to learn how to work with others, and in those smaller group sections, in those meetings and those teams, you build those skills. Soft skills are a big part of how we actually are prosperous as adults. So I think it's important that we build on those and offer those when we can and follow the rules when we do.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like us to know before we go on to Alderman?
No, I just want to say thank you, the Chamber of Commerce. I am happy to see that this is a continuing tradition. I want to thank Lincoln Land also for putting this on and letting us have the building. And I want to wish the best to all the other candidates. I know that this is fun and it's a little nerve-wracking sitting up here, so good luck with that. But even though I am uncontested, I did want to come tonight because I have been a part of being on the other side of this forum, and I do appreciate participating and giving a chance to everybody to get to know who I am. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're welcoming Ward 1 Alderman candidates to the stage. Marilyn, hello. Welcome. Good. Yep.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah, you want
How
to
are you
take,
doing?
doing well, thank you. You want to take a moment, tell us about yourselves, tell us who you are, and
Yeah, I'm Marilyn Sisson. I've been in Litchfield since 1963. I've managed ball teams, I've managed Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts, babysit, and I've been on the council now for probably about 18 years.
awesome. Awesome, well, thank you for your time tonight, and thanks for joining us. Question number one, Marilyn, what do you believe your role is as an alderman in our community?
I believe that we all have the same idea of what we want. Because it can't be just one person, it's got to be all of us. And I can't say, we need curbs, and we're getting that. We're getting sewers and curbs and stuff, and we need this.
Okay. Awesome, thank you.
If you received a $100 million grant to use for the city any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
The first thing I would do would get some playground equipment and places for kids to play and things to do, because I really believe they need more than that.
Okay, thank you.
Question three, thank you. How do you propose to address our water, sewer, and electrical systems?
I don't know. It's tough.
Okay. If you could change one zoning code, what would it be and why?
I don't know, because I'd never thought about changing the zoning code.
Okay.
Okay. Question five, how would you handle disagreements or conflicts with other members of the town council or with residents? I know this don't happen, but if it did happen, how would you handle that?
I don't see any problems. I think we all get along real well. I haven't saw any problems among us. So again, that's all I can say.
All right, thank you. How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in our town? How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in our town?
I don't know, it would help if they would come to the meetings and see what goes on, and then it would be easier for them to make decisions and give them to us.
Okay, thank you.
And last but not least, where are your favorite places to spend time in good old Litchfield, Illinois?
In Litchfield, probably at my house with my kids and grandkids.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much. Let's give Marilyn a hand tonight.
Okay, we're going to welcome Ward 2 to the stage. Just so everyone is aware, we did take all of the aldermen and the mayoral candidates out of the room. They are in a separate room so they don't hear the questions prior to their time on the stage. That's why it kind of takes a little bit of time for us to switch out.
So if you need me to sing tonight, I'd be happy to do that, but probably for your sake, we'll probably just wait out.
He'll do a little dance too if you ask him to. Have a seat anywhere, all the mics should be on. Okay, would you like to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you?
Sure. My name is Robin Huffman. I've lived in Litchfield for about 58 years. So that tells you I'm getting ready to be 60 this year. Graduated 1983, president of the class. My work life has been in Litchfield. I was plant manager for Alpine ITW for over 20 years. In the last 11, I've been a manager at WorkSaver. Did several stints on the Chamber of Commerce during my years here in town. One of them back in the early 90s, back when tourism was part of the chamber and not a paid position at the city. I was able to convince an alderman back then to go to the council and get the hotel motel tax passed. And in that, over 30 some years, it's brought in over $8 million for the town. I've coached back in, not today, but back 20, 30 years ago, coached Little League soccer when it first came to town. Knew nothing about that game, but I had some people come to me and say, well, if you don't coach, we can't have little girl soccer. So I got a book. This is way before YouTube and anything else. So I'm at the library and I'm reading a book and how do you play soccer? And so I've done a lot of things in this town. I go to Mount Zion Lutheran Church. I'm on church council there. And I like the town. You know, I had opportunities to leave town many times for work, and I just always chose to stay here. I like the location. You're an hour from a Cardinal game, the airport, or you go Springfield shop. To me, Litchfield is the perfect location. So that's who I am. I'm single. I don't have any biological children, but I have raised many children in this town and helped out many, many people. So I'm a soft touch for a little kid or an old person. If you're in the middle, you're on your own.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, before we get started, I do want to say I serve on the Litchfield baseball board, so if you're interested in coaching, we'd love to have you.
Always looking for coaches.
Even if you don't know anything about it. Thank you for all you've done and continue to do. Question one is, what do you believe your role is as an alderman in our community? What do you believe your role is as an alderman in our community?
Well, I think my role is to try to make Litchfield, the best town for all ages and, all walks of life, whether you're on the lower income side to the wealthier side. I would like to see the town really get something for the kids in town to do. That is either free or very minimal, because it's like every time we get something, it costs so darn much to go that kids can't do it, So I'm really into that. The senior citizens, I think the town really tries with different things going on at the community center for that. I would like to see some programs for the kids at school. If they do it good, and they're not saying that it has to be straight A's, but if a student does well for their capability, why can't we have a program that, hey, they might be able to earn some passes to go swimming at the pool or the beach, either one. Get some programs like that, because we've got a fantastic pool, but it is expensive to swim there. If you got a family with 3 or 4 kids, you can't afford to send them to the pool maybe every other week, and that would be, you're talking $40. So I would like to see to get some programs in. Older citizens that need their yards cleaned up. I think Josh Hughes at the middle school and high school is starting programs like that, and it's going over very well. But I think I would like to see programs to, working with the city, that a child, show them good work reaps rewards, And even for the average student, a C may be the only thing that's good for a student, then he needs to also reap a reward. So I would like to see something in town for the kids to be able to do that is free.
Okay.
Thank you.
This kind of rolls into this question. If you received a $1 million grant to use for the city any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
And I can't use it for myself, right?
For the city.
That's really a tough question. The town has an issue with homelessness. People don't like to talk about it. They like to, sweep it under the carpet. But there is an issue there. And I would like to see boy, that money, I would have to put a big chunk of it into the downtown area, because downtown, when I go into a new town, when I drive through their downtown, that is a snapshot of their community. And when that downtown looks fantastic, that tells me those people are proud of that town and they take care of it. That's just not their city council, that is the entire community, you know. So I would really have to go after the downtown.
Okay, thank you.
And with what money you have left over, it leads into question 3. How do you propose to address our water, sewer, and electrical system? How do you propose to address?
That's a good question. I mean, the infrastructure in this town has surpassed its use, you know. We need all new infrastructure, and I will say that the city administrator has some plans in place to get those finances going. Because it's not just, I know people think, why can't you just go and do this neighborhood over here? And it doesn't quite work that well. We're trying to put a program in to separate so that the rainwater goes directly as an outlet to the creek, and then the used water from the households is the only thing that goes to the sewer. And so we really don't want to replace anything until we can do all of that at one time, because if we replace it the way it is, we'll have to redo it again to get it separated. But hey, I'm well aware of that. I pumped 5 feet of water out twice last year, Memorial Day weekend.
So it's like 10 feet.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
twice, 2 times, yeah.
We can add, look at that. Okay, if you could change one zoning code, what would it be and why? Well, I don't know if this would be a zoning code, but we got a metal container for storage out of the lake, and it's fantastic, but they're not allowed in town to use. I mean, you could use them instead of building a shed, and they look very nice. Those are things that I don't think they're an eyesore. I think they look great. You know, you could use that as a kid's playhouse, storage for your. A lot of people have ATVs, side-by-sides, and things like that, you know, that would be much cheaper, and it would keep the stuff out of the yard. You know, I'm a big one for, I don't like things in the yard unless they serve a purpose, like a swing, you swing on it. You know, your bird feeders, that kind of stuff, I don't want to see other stuff in the yard. But if a lot of people are collectors, and those storage sheds would give, containers would give a great storage for a very minimal cost. Okay, thank you.
Next question is, how would you handle disagreements or conflicts with other members of the town council or with residents? I know this doesn't happen, but if it was to happen, how would you handle that?
How would I handle if someone didn't agree with me?
So how would you handle disagreements or conflicts with other members of the town council or with residents?
Okay, so somebody doesn't have my same thought process.
Correct.
That doesn't usually happen. But, you know, I'm one for the facts, you know, I'm not gonna vote for something until I hear everything from A to Z. And I'm one of these people that you don't go from A to C, there's a B step in there, you know, so I want to hear everything that there is. And I can be swayed from one direction to the other, you know, I may think I know it all, but unfortunately, sometimes I just don't. And, you know, I have to do some research. But I like to be fully informed before I make a decision. And it doesn't bother me to go against someone or 3 or 4 people if, you know, if I don't agree with what they're going for. I'm not easily swayed.
Okay, thank you.
All right, how do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in our town?
Well, you know, I would like to see, besides our normal twice-a-month council meetings, I would like to see, maybe on a quarterly basis, just an open forum where people can come in. I mean, have it limited, but people can come in and voice a complaint, or we can just talk about, hey, this is going on in my ward, how's it in your ward? Hey, maybe we can do something about this, you know, just have open discussion. That's probably the biggest thing I don't like about city council, is that there is no opportunity for open discussion with all the council members there. Because due to the Open Meetings Act, there cannot be any more than 2 of us together at the same time. Otherwise, it has to be a public meeting. And I just think that, you know, to be able to get your 2 cents in and get the questions from the residents on what issues they may have, I would like to see just a open meeting like that once a quarter.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Couple more questions. We'll hurry along here. Where are your favorite places to spend time in, or time at here in our town?
Well, I'm a sports fan, so I do try to support the different teams. Some of them I have family members in, some I have friends that their kids are in. So you will see me sporting a Panther hat and a Panther shirt. I see you there all the time. The Park District, I do participate in Together Litchfield Can and Litchfield Community Partners. You know, and Litchfield Community Partners, along with Sarah there and some other of us, we do the Halloween parade, we do the Christmas parade, you know, and things like that. And Jake's Together Litchfield Can, I try to participate with the youth group and Parks and Rec, you know. So we're trying to get some new things going and openly take suggestions for different things to get people involved.
Yeah, I noticed some people chuckled when you said that. You see me at games. I just want to point out that I'm the quiet, reserved guy in the stands, right?
You always say that, and we know that's not true.
Moving on quickly. Got a couple more here and we'll wrap up. Thank you so much for your time tonight. What can you do to improve the shabby homes or yards in your ward? What can you do to improve the shabby homes or yards in your ward?
That was an audience question.
Audience question, sorry.
I'm sorry, what's that?
It was an audience question.
Oh, it's an audience question.
Yeah.
It's not as easy to get a house torn down and that with the court system as I thought it would be, which I have learned from Gary Baker and being on the church council, being on the city council. You know, there are people, I think Josh uses class, I think they do this sometimes, just like when it's time for cleanup, spring and fall cleanup, you know, and this year, you know, I'm gonna go, like, you see an elderly person's house and maybe they've got some debris out in the yard, and they would gladly get rid of it if somebody would get it to the curb for them, you know. So I would like to see, going around the neighborhood and checking to see who lives there, if it's somebody that would be open. You know, if I can get a couple of kids over to clean up your yard, are you okay with that? You know, because this town is full of a lot of senior citizens that need assistance. You know, so one, I would like to do that because having that fall and spring cleanup, that is a huge benefit. I mean, most towns don't even have that, and to have it free, I mean, that's really incredible, and I didn't realize that, how incredible that was until just recently. I thought everybody had that, you know.
Yeah.
And you talk to people from other towns, like, you know, we have to pay big money to get our stuff hauled off, you know. And everybody should be taking advantage of that. So I would like to see people knocking on doors, asking, hey, can we help you out? Fall cleanups in 2 weeks, can we come and carry some stuff to the curb for you?
Yeah, just for Cub fans, or is that include Cardinal fans as well?
Well, my family is split, so
Okay.
yeah, but I have to help everybody.
Okay, one final question from the audience. What are your ideas concerning the current potential for the poverty level to rise in relation to housing? Is that what that says?
Did you read it one more time?
Who wrote this? What are your ideas concerning the current potential for the poverty level to rise in relation to housing?
To housing. I'm glad I put these through one.
Yes. Should I hear it again? Am I saying that right, whoever wrote it? Okay. What are your ideas concerning the current potential for the poverty level to rise in relation to housing?
Well, we are getting ready to put in a brand new housing. So, I mean, that's, I'm not quite sure what that question actually is. I don't know if they're asking if, you know, if we have low-income housing, how we're gonna get more. Do we have enough low-income housing for residents, you know, that require it?
Yeah, just throwing a dart at it, I would think that, how can we help the low-income housing and with the home or?
You know, I think this new housing project we've got coming in, you know, for the low income is gonna be tremendous. It's gonna be very, very nice. You know, and I'm not for sure what you do. I mean, we have subsidized housing all over town in different apartment buildings and, you know, the Brown Shoe and, the Elks and, you know, I'm just really, I look at it this way. I have worked my entire life, you know, 60, 70 hours a week, and I'm just now getting my weekends off. And for somebody to just come up and say, I just can't find a job, well, open your eyes. Everybody is hiring, you know. So I'm not saying, the people need to get out and get a job, you know, and help yourself and then be helped. You know, but the people who just don't want to do anything and expect free housing, that's a whole nother ballgame.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your time tonight. Let's give it up for Robin.
Okay. So we need to be louder, everybody. We can do that. Okay, we are going to welcome Ward 3 candidates to the stage.
Wait till my wife hears that you guys can't hear me.
Good evening. Welcome. So there's microphones in front of you. They should all be on. All right. We will start to my left. And introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, my name is Neil Francis. I've been a kind of an in and out resident of town, but put down permanent roots about 10 or so years ago. I was originally born here in town and decided this is where I want to come back and plant roots and just take part in the community and be active and help grow the town.
All right, hello, my name is Leo Hernandez, and I moved to Litchfield back in 2019. Before that, I was in the Marine Corps. I did 4 years active duty, and I continue to serve as in the IRR Reserve Unit. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Lauren, and we have 2 stunning children, Lily and Leo. I'm currently employed through the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and I have been so employed for 4 years. I continue to strive to protect our community and to preserve the safety of others. I am currently on the precinct committee board for the Republican Party. I serve the Bodark area as their precinct committeeman. Other than that, I wish the best of luck to the other candidates.
Please hold all applause to the end. I'm kidding.
Hello, my name is Bert Holloway. Many of you may know my name because my grandfather taught at Litchfield, probably taught some of you. I'm 31 years old. The most important thing, I think, in my life is I'm a devout Christian. I've been a member of Litchfield Christian Church for my entire life. That's how a lot of people in my ward know me. I'm
I'm the class of 2011 from Hillsborough High School. I graduated and went straight into the United States Air Force. I served 7 years. I deployed all over the world, in particular to the Middle East. While I was in, I got my bachelor's degree in political science. And I'm currently a thesis away from a master's degree in political science with a focus in small government from UIS. I'm married to my best friend and the love of my life, Jacqueline Holloway. We have 3 beautiful children, Dolan, Remy, and Reese. And what I do for a living is I own 2 small businesses. So I'm a FedEx ground independent contractor. So I have roughly 30 employees, 28 trucks that we run. I run up north in the Rock Island, Quad City area. And I also own 4 semis, and we deliver rock and asphalt here locally. So thank you, by the way, to the Chamber for putting this on and allowing democracy to play out. I appreciate it, and I'm glad to be here.
Hi, Kevin Schott. I'm a resident of Litchfield since 2017. Came over to be the fire chief. I'm married for 48 years to my wife Diana. I have 3 grown children, 7 grandchildren. I'm a 22-year veteran of the Illinois Air National Guard. 24-year veteran, 22 of them I was a full-time firefighter at the 183rd Fighter Wing at the Illinois Air National Guard. I spent a little bit of time over in Iraq during Operation Iraqi Freedom back in 2006. After I left my fire department job, I went to the State Fire Marshal's office as the senior policy advisor to the State Fire Marshal. I was promoted to the chief operating officer. When I decided to retire, I got bored, applied, and came over here to Litchfield to be the fire chief. Was the fire chief for a year and a half here in town. I then went to the Montgomery County Emergency Management Agency as their director. I retired from there in September. I'm currently I'm the vice president of the Illinois Firefighters Association. I'm part of the Community Risk Reduction Task Force that is chaired by the State Fire Marshal's office. Locally, I do chair the Community Wellness Committee, and I also sit on several other committees, including the Together Litchfield Can Housing Committee, that I'm very excited to be a part of that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Before we get started with questions, how about we give a round of applause for the service? How many are thankful for that?
Also, just so the candidates know, each question we will give you 3 minutes to answer. When you are getting close to the end of your time, I have a little stop sign here for you to wrap it up, okay?
If you blow through the stop sign, we do have a few cops here that will be issuing citations. I'm just kidding, but I'm serious. Question 1, we're going to start here on the left, and then question 2, we'll move down the line, but obviously we'll give everyone the opportunity to answer the question, of course. So, first question tonight is, what do you believe your role is as an alderman in our community? What do you believe your role would be as an alderman in our community?
Well, I believe it would be to listen to the people and take their questions and concerns seriously and bring it forth towards the council and see if there's anything that we can do to fix whatever their questions or concerns are and give them the trust back.
Okay, thank you.
So I believe the role of alderman is very diving deep into the community role. There's 7 other council members, including the person that is elected on April 1st. With that being said, you have to take in mind of the other council members and their opinions and decisions. The decisions that are made are solely based off the public and the community and their best interests. So if you want to become an alderman and be the best alderman there is possible, you have to reach out to the community, you have to look and see what their opinions are, and then also look at advantages to grow the city. Other than that, I think you would be a good candidate.
So there is 8 aldermen, right, on the city council, and they each should function in unison, right? They should communicate. And if, as an alderman, if you're representing your ward, your constituents, right, you should bring that to the council, right? And my whole motto is my loyalty to your voice, right? I think that's absolutely crucial. This isn't about me. This isn't about what I intend to do, what I hope to do. This is about you, the people. And I think if I'm doing my job as alderman, I'm going to represent my people. I plan to reach out, be active and present on social media to get and hear the voices from my ward. I also will promise you that I will make my information public, and you are more than welcome to reach out to me anytime. I work from my phone, so it's not uncommon for me to answer phone calls. So again, my loyalty to your voice.
I view it as a team builder and a bridge builder. We have a great community with unlimited potential, but it takes collaboration. It takes working with the Chamber of Commerce. It takes working with our local schools. We have to be job creators. We have to help that single mother or single father that is working 2 jobs to support their family. We need to give them the opportunity to rise above where they're at now. Same with the young entrepreneur that's coming into our community, male or female, to help them make their first $1 million. It's a community of diverse individuals that the city council has the responsibility to make our city better so that our citizens are better. When we allow our citizens to rise, our community is going to thrive.
Okay, thank you. All right, we are going to move to Mr. Hernandez for our second question. If you received a $1 million grant to use for the city any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why? I'll repeat it if you'd like.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
If the city received a $1 million grant, my first question would be, did we have to put in 30% of that in order to use those funds? Because based off grants, usually the state grants these funds for us, but the city has to put up some kind of percentage. So if we're utilizing the grant through the state, my main focus would be to put it back into the city development itself. I mean, we have problems with the infrastructure being outdated. We have problems with businesses not coming in. And there's a lot of voices from the community stating the roads itself are a big issue. So if we have a grant for $1 million, I believe that has to be distributed through the city itself to find the major problems with the infrastructure and the daily lives of the public. We want to put that back in there to make the citizens' lives easier as their course continues to live here.
Okay, thank you.
I think $1 million, when you're talking about the city budget, roughly $30 million, right? $1 million to you and I is a lot of money, but to the city, that's small, right? I believe there is some work that needs done with the infrastructure, but it's going to be much more than $1 million. I feel like when I go home in the evening and I look my 7-year-old in the face and he says, "Dad, there's nothing to do here." It breaks my heart, right? I feel like Litchfield deserves better than that, right? I think we need something for our youth. We need to invest in our youth. One of the things, now, here in the city of Litchfield, the Park District controls where we play soccer currently. It's not under the city authority. What I would love to see is work with Steve Bryant, who controls the Park District, and have a conversation with him with this grant and say, can we put that money into our current, soccer place that our children play, right, out at the community center, where we have a lack of bathrooms, we have a lack of seating, the field floods. I would love to see something to invest in our youth. Either that or use that to build some sort of, what comes to my mind is my son's playing soccer over at the DiMugio Center in Carlinville. Why Carlinville? Why not Litchfield? Let's do it.
Thank you.
Certainly can't argue with anything that's already been said, but I'm hesitant to point out one thing that we could use $1 million for. Leo's right. We've got infrastructure needs. We've got to be able to look at the continuing operations of the city. We've got great city workers. The fire department, police department, street department do a phenomenal job. We got to ensure that they can not only continue, but to help them grow as well. I'm a huge advocate, sitting on the Community Wellness Committee, for mental health. I know, and many of you may not know, that we have 110 classified homeless children in our school district today. Now, that's not fair to them. It doesn't help them get their education that they need. And again, I believe in rising everybody up to their greatest potential. So we need to be looking at things like mental health services to the city, to the school, to assist the school. There's a young lady sitting in the front of the room that does a phenomenal job for the school district and this community. We're blessed to have her. I won't mention her name, I don't want to embarrass her. We're blessed to have her with the school district and in our community, but she's only one person. And while she does a phenomenal job, I believe the city could help in that area as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, if we got $1 million grant, I would definitely like to sit down and just research where they could be best put to use, i.e. the infrastructure, something for the children around town, or maybe just expand something that we've been needing for a long time, something to help with the progress and growth of the town, which is basically what we need best right now. Other than that, just sit there and try to just research where it needs to go the best we can, but put the best use.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on to the next question. There's a little bit left over of that $1 million. Leads us into this. How do you propose to address the water, sewer, and electrical systems here in Litchfield? Moving on to the second through here.
So we have a nice water sewer treatment plant that was built years ago. It needs approximately north of $20 million in work. And it's pumping our water and sewer through clay pipes that I don't know if it's the 50s or 60s that our sewer system was put in the ground. The current sewer system cannot withstand gray water and sewer water. So we have to make a decision, a tough decision, that when we go to repair it, we're gonna have a choice to make, right? Do we leave the current system to handle gray water, or do we put in a whole brand new system? It's gonna be costly, it's gonna be, it's gonna take time. But this is what happens when you kick the can down the road. Now we're faced with whoever's elected up here is gonna have tough decisions to make with our water and sewer and our infrastructure. And so, and it's gonna take a lot of money. So I look forward to listening to your guys' feedback on suggestions and how you think that could be done. Obviously, we'll consult with some consultants and figure out the best path forward. But it's going to be a challenging thing that we have to cross.
Thank you.
Definitely challenging. I mean, ideally, would love to see all electrical services get put into the ground so we don't have to worry about the windstorms that we may have tomorrow, and utility outages that we can help to go away with that. The water, quite frankly, I need to educate myself more on. Since I've announced to be alderman, I've been hit up by several people about their water bills. So we need to clarify the water bills. There's a $5 utility maintenance fee that is on there that people are questioning. Where's that money at? What's it used for? So I hesitate to say definitively what we're going to do, but we definitely have to investigate how we can better serve the public with all of our utilities.
Sounds good, thank you.
When it comes to the water, power, and sewer, we definitely need to sit down and look at which one's in the worst shape and basically needs to get taken care of first. We definitely need to look into the water bills and upgrading our water plant to where it needs to be to handle everybody's usage. We just can't let it sit idle for too long and end up with a major failure down the road. We've got to get that stuff taken care of as fast as possible in the best way possible. And that we got to sit down, we got to talk with the citizens about that, talk with contractors and anybody else that we need to solve the situation moving forward in the best way possible.
Thank you.
So I'm going to be frank. I am not an electrician, I am not a plumber, and I have no clue on how the system is currently ran or how we could better implement the funds. So with that being said, you would have to sit down with contractors, you would have to sit down with outsourced businesses outside of our city because our city workers can't handle everything that has to do with the plumbing, the infrastructure, and electrical. Now, I do know that the city of Nokomis at one point in time had implemented a new water line system, and they had a company that came in and proposed the bill and how much it would be. The city of Nokomis's water bills had rose just a little bit. And obviously, the public was furious with that. But you have to increase some sort of funds to implement better designs. And with the other council members, we would have to sit down, talk to contractors, and figure out what's the best plan.
Thank you.
Okay, question number 4. If you could change one zoning code, what would it be and why?
I'll be honest with you, I don't feel I know enough about the ordinances that we have to fairly answer that. I think we've got a great building inspector with Gary Baker that I'd have to work with to be brought up to speed. And I'm very hesitant to try to answer that without more knowledge on the ordinances.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not very knowledgeable on all the ordinances at the moment. I would definitely have to sit down and look through them and make my decision from there. As it sits right now, I could not make a proper decision on that.
Okay, thank you.
The core ordinances that we have implemented into our city, I think they just need to be enforced. I think we become lackadaisical on certain ordinances, and in order to utilize the tools and resources we have to put our foot down and continue to enforce the current ordinances. Now with the zoning plans, the industrial way on the west side of 55, I believe that is zoned for manufacturing companies. I believe there is a time frame on it has to be zoned for manufacturing. If we can implement that to be zoned possibly to commercial or manufacturing to keep it that way, I think if we looked at that closer and rezone that, we could draw on a lot of businesses to bring in some tax revenue.
Okay, thank you.
As far as rezoning, I'm always interested in, I have 2 small businesses. So anytime I get an opportunity, if available, I would love to zone things for businesses, right? To bring in businesses, wherever that might be. I'm pro-business. I want to see downtown grow. I want to see there's, area, I think, potentially for growth, a bunch of area out by the bowling alley that could be developed. So I would like some things done with the zoning out there in order for us to grow and expand and bring in small businesses. I would also like to sit down with Gary Baker. He's been doing this job a long time. I would like to have a discussion with him about his opinion, right? Because I'll be the first to tell you, I don't know everything, and I would like experts' opinion on where we could see that growth potential and target that.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Next question, not saying this happens in Litchfield, but if it was to happen, so hypothetical here. How would you handle disagreements or conflicts with other members of the town council or with residents? Again, I know this don't happen here, but if it did, how would you handle that? Sorry. Oh, sorry. He looked at me.
Well, just to make sure, sit them down, make sure that this situation doesn't escalate beyond where it can't be controlled, and sit down, listen to both sides, and see if maybe we can get a compromise between them without going over the line either direction.
Fortunately for me, I deal with that on a daily basis. So my best approach to that is figuring out both sides of the situation. If I can get the opinion from the person that has the issue and the opinion from the question that's being directioned, I can come to a middle ground and figure out a solution. I'm well versed in that, thankfully. And the situation doesn't need to be hostile. I mean, we're all grown adults. We can have a conversation and sit down and figure out a result.
Awesome, thank you.
So being a leader, right? I was a supervisor in the military. I'm a leader of more than 35 employees, right? Disputes, disagreements, they're inevitable, right? Not everybody's going to be streamlined and think the same. And what we have to do is be okay with that, right? We're all adults. We all are entitled to our own life experiences, our own disagreements. Where it crosses a line is when you take it to social media, right? Or you, hurt somebody's feelings, right? You personally attack them. This isn't personal. This is business. And we should always put our constituents first. So in my opinion, Ward 4 people might think differently than Ward 1. Different than Ward 2. I'm there to represent my ward in Ward 3. And if that is not the same that people feel in Ward 4, that's okay, right? We should still be able to work together and come to a compromise for the betterment of the city of Litchfield.
Thank you.
Communications is the key, and not being afraid to address the hard issues. At times, you may need to bring a mediator in, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We have to be willing to agree to disagree at times, and compromise, as Leo said, compromise is going to be the key in many instances. You're not always going to get your way, but you've got to be willing to get to that middle ground where everybody can live with it. Maybe not be happy with it, but everybody can live with it. And it's just vital that you have good open communications, that you are willing to ask for help when you need help with a situation, and again, always keeping the word compromise in your vocabulary.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, Leo. How do we plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in our town?
That is a great question. So we already have pamphlets that go out that give upcoming events and situations of the city's focus through the mail. If we can implement possibly a mobile application that would present ideas, decisions made, and maybe a slot on there for questions, then the public's going to be a little bit more inclined to interject themselves into the community. I understand that there's certain applications out there, and I know there's bigger cities that use the applications, and I think that would be a great step forward, because in this generation, we're all technology based. But if we can also keep those pamphlets going out to share our ideas for the city, for the older generation that may not be so technically inclined, that would be awesome.
Okay, thank you.
So, I told you in my introduction that I'm a poli-sci major, political science major. And boy, did I go to school to learn about this, right? How do you get the appropriate information from your constituents? How do you get that feedback? How is it reliable, right? How is it trustworthy? Making sure that it's a big enough sample size to represent what the constituency wants. So there's many things that can be done. Obviously, the first thing that comes to my mind for, tech savvy people is we see Alderman Hughes and Alderman Fleming use social media, right, to communicate, right, what's currently going on with our city. And so I want to kind of piggyback off of that, except maybe take it a step further, right? I would love to put out a poll, right, on the topic, right, and get some feedback that way. And then secondly, if it's a major issue, right, if there is, sidewalks, or whether it be infrastructure or whatever it might be that's going to impact raising taxes or anything in that fashion, I would love to mail out, right, an anonymous survey to the constituents, asking for feedback, right? Because ultimately, it's my loyalty to your voice.
Thank you.
A lot of that's going on already. The council meetings are being live broadcast during them to allow the general public that may not be able to get out of their home or for whatever reason, at least they can see what's going on with the city council. Last year, we took on the mapping for the future of Litchfield economically and other things, and out of that came the Together Litchfield Can group, which is very active and has increased the amount of public input into the city already, and is still growing. It's going strong, and it's only going to get better. So we're on the right track, quite frankly. Look at this room. We've increased the public interest already. We've got the start of a committee. One of us is going to win, the others are going to be available to that individual to help them and to help get that public input that we need. We need to just be willing to work together to forget any minor obstacles that we may perceive as out there and communicate.
Thank you.
I'm a big fan of doing things face to face, and I think it's a more personal issue, and it conveys things a lot better when you talk to people face to face. But in today's world, they're right with you do have to use social media a lot. So I want to use a combination of getting out, meeting the people face to face, and getting their opinion on what matters, and using the social media as well, and by mailing out flyers, to just getting out and getting face to face with people.
Awesome, thank you. Got a couple more here. Bert, I believe, right where we're at. Where are your favorite places to spend time in our town, good old Panther Nation?
So having 3 little ones, right, I'm all over the place. But I gotta say that my favorite place is at the community center on a chilly fall morning, watching the kids play soccer, right? That and coaching soccer, right? I've coached my son all the way up and my daughter. And that's my favorite place, and for many reasons. Again, I'm all about investing in our youth, right? You always want the next generation to have better than you. And I find that so important to me. And so getting to spend time with family and friends out on the soccer field and watching our young future athletes compete, that fires me up, that gets me going. So I would say that's my favorite thing to do here in Litchfield.
Awesome, thank you.
The older I get, the more my home becomes my favorite place to be. But saying that, Litchfield has some truly hidden gems. We have great restaurants that we can take advantage of. There's small businesses downtown that we have to continue to support. The Lake Lou Yeager is truly a hidden gem as far as the lakes go. We have great parks. My grandkids come over and we always have to find one of the parks. We usually bounce from one park to the other park because there's some great things going on. Pickleball is an up and coming thing. I've yet to play pickleball, but I want to someday. As long as my knees will allow it. But we have a lot of things, a lot of good things going on in this town that we just need to continue to support.
Awesome, thank you.
I think it's impossible just to pick one favorite place in this town. There's way too many awesome places in town to call my favorite. And if I get a coffee, I like going to Kismet. If I have my kids, I take them out to the lake or the fun zone uptown. I mean, we have way too many amazing playgrounds here that I can take my kids to a different one each day of the week and they are happy. It's going to be about it. We have so many amazing restaurants, from the Ariston, Gianni's, Nancy's. It's just impossible to pick one favorite place about this town. There's just way too much about it to be one favorite.
We'll be sure not to tell your boss that Mr. Fuel did not make the list.
So I don't have one particular favorite place here in town. I would say that I spend my free time in a lot of different places. One being the local gym, Fit to Go. I'm a very fitness advocate person. Another place would be right across the field from this guy coaching our kids. He's always a great competitor, and I believe he's doing a well job in bringing up our youth. The other place that I would like to go is usually U-Belts. On my free time, when I get some actual free time, I usually go there and have a breakfast and some coffee. They have phenomenal pastries. Other than that, my father-in-law, he takes our kids out to the lake all the time. It's a beautiful lake. He spent plenty of hours and dedicated his time to improving that lake. And he did a phenomenal job on that. Other than that, I mean, my job is to drive around and protect the safety of others. So I do spend quite some time in Litchfield. And the reason being is because my kids are here, my family's here. So if I can come out and patrol our city streets, I definitely put some effort into that.
Hello? Yeah,
There we
thank
go.
you. So it sounds like pastries and gyms kind of go hand in hand, is that right?
Honestly, they do. You got to go burn off those calories to go win those bad calories back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to start with Kevin for final statements. If there's anything that you would like to say to us before we move on.
Sure. Well, again, I've spent my adult life in the service of others through my military service, as a firefighter, as a fire chief, emergency manager. And I've done that my entire adult life in a way that whoever needs my help, I'm going to give it to them. I've never cared about the color of skin, the religion, the political background of the individual. I'm going to step up and help those individuals the same as I will if elected to be the Alderman of Ward 3. Everybody in the ward is important. Everybody in this city is important. Backgrounds, personal feelings do not matter. Everything that comes before the council has to be looked at in a holistic way. From every side, you have to weigh the pros versus the cons. You have to be willing to make a decision that sometimes not everybody's going to be happy about. But again, if it's in the best interest of the citizens, of the city itself, then everybody can live with that. And that is my pledge to you if I become Alderman of the 3rd Ward. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to say that I spent many a year here running at Kurt's Towing, driving a tow truck. And in my time there, I have met so many amazing people in this town, and that's what kind of helped drive me to do this. I just think the people need somebody they can trust, who's driven and dedicated, and can give them their trust back in the city. And take their opinions and their thoughts and their ideas and actually put them into practice. And other than that, I just want to work hard for you guys. That's it. And I thank everybody for showing up here tonight and listening to all of us.
Thank you.
First off, I want to say thanks to my family and to my wife for putting up with me. This has been an incredible experience and an eye-opener, just running for this alderman position. I also want to say good luck to these other candidates. This is a great group of guys up here. I believe they all share a great vision to improve our city. I want to hopefully become your next alderman so that I can interject my personal opinions and my ideas with the other council members to come to a great decision on the growth of our city. With that being said, if I were not to get it, I would still be out here in the community putting forth my best effort for my children, for my family. Lastly, I want to go off of a statement that I like to follow very closely, and that statement is, the only way to be successful is to have a stronger mind than emotions.
Thank you.
So, some of the things that I would like to do, obviously you've heard tonight, things like infrastructure, working with the park district on revamping our soccer park, the one we do have, youth programs, getting our youth in high school involved in the city government, teaching them, right, that it matters. I want to expand our street department and fire department hiring area, right? We've got shortages in our city. We need, it doesn't matter if you don't live here, if you're a good quality candidate, you deserve, and want to work for the city of Litchfield, we want to do that, right? Especially in Ward 3. There hasn't been much done in the last few years for our ward, right? I want to go to work for you guys and bringing sidewalks, right? Different things that need done. But what sticks with me is something our former Secretary of State said. He said, trust is the essence of leadership, okay? So the question tonight is, as you sit here, do you trust the city government as it still exists? If not, then we must be without the presence of leadership. So I want to bring that leadership, right, and that involvement back to our community. Leadership's important, but a value of leadership is being a good person. I recently just received an award in the mail for 6 years donating to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. I've donated to the likes of Zion Lutheran, Hillsborough Health, most recently Stamp Out Cancer. Tonight, I want to make the pledge to you that if you elect me as alderman, any dollar I make as alderman will be donated to a local charity of your guys' choice. Thank you. God bless the city of Litchfield. Thanks for having me.
Okay, great, thank you so much. Big day on. Okay, we are going to welcome Ward 4 candidates to the stage. Welcome. So we're just going to start with introductions. Tell us your name and a little bit about yourselves. And we'll start with Cliff.
My name is Cliff Ingram, and I first of all want to thank each of you for coming out this evening. We were just talking earlier about how this is an off election. Off, not in the sense that it's not important, but off in the sense that we're not voting for a president, so fewer people are involved or interested. So thank you very much for coming out, because it's just as important. I really believe that local politics really impacts us greatly, simply because it's where we live, right? I'm not saying that national politics doesn't, but it's a lot easier to impact something on a local level. And so that's the reason that I decided to run for alderman, is because it's where we live and work, and it's where we are. So I want to thank you for that, or for being here. Just briefly, I also want to say that if I'm elected as your alderman, I want to pledge to you that I will listen to your ideas, whether they be complaints or other ideas, and at least give you an answer. Obviously, there are lots of different people who have different opinions. So as alderman for Ward 4, I would be representing those ideas and thoughts that the majority of Ward 4, to the best of my ability to discern that, would be. And so would be committed to supporting those ideas. As your representative, it would be important to represent you, even though we might have different opinions. And so I just want to commit to that. The 4 ideas, strategies, priorities that I will be focusing on if I'm elected is, first of all, downtown. We need to revitalize downtown. I've done a lot of driving in my days, and driving through any downtown that's been run down. I always ask myself the same question: why would anyone want to live here? And I believe that we need to have a downtown that we can be proud of. Second of all, we need to work on an infrastructure plan. We all know that there are various infrastructure problems from water leaks to sewage issues, etc. I believe the city needs to have a plan, so if you call them up, they can tell you approximately when they want to be or plan to be working on issues in your area. So we need to have an infrastructure plan. We need to have multi-economic housing options in our town. I serve on the housing committee for Together Litchfield Can, and those are some issues that have already been prioritized by that housing committee, and so we need to have various options for people to live in. And so yeah, those are some of the things I'm going to be focusing on.
Okay, thank you. She's
Okay,
Is it on? Is your power on? Is it green?
yes, green, hold it down, flashes. No, still flashing. That's great, that's great. Okay, there we go. For you out here that don't know me, my name's Ray Kellenberger. I've been your ward alderman for the last 4 years. Right now, we have some big problems with the city. There's a lot of things that need to be addressed. And the fourth ward, the people that elected us, they're our bosses. So what's important to them is what we should concentrate on as aldermen. I've lived in Litchfield all my life. I graduated from Litchfield High School. I joined the Army. I came back and I went to work for Consolidated Communications. I worked for them for 35 years. And 20 of those years I was a union steward. I've tried to vote the way the people that I represent want me to vote. If there's an issue, I try to call people or I have people call me, and we try to get the majority of what the people want. Not necessarily what my view, because that's not important. The important thing is the people that elected us. So there's in my view, we need maybe 3 or 4 things. We need education, we need industry, we need housing. There's just different things that we really have to work on. Infrastructure is definitely one of them. And there's plans in the work right now that is going to address these things. You know, anything we do, and here's another thing. You know, there is no I in team. So we have to work together, both council and the city, to get these things done. They're not going to be done tomorrow or the next day, but they definitely will get done eventually. We just have to work together. That's the important thing. And I think one of the major things that we've accomplished is this vocational center. Kids in high school can now get dual credit and go out to this vocational center and possibly get a apprenticeship. That'll keep people from leaving Litchfield. You know, a lot of people don't have the money, first of all, to send their kids to school, college. Or the kids don't have, you know, the education to do so. But if they can go into this apprenticeship or go into this where they can get welding, electronics, that is very important to keep Litchfield people here. I want to thank you all for trusting me, my vote, and if you will, I appreciate the vote April 1st. Thank you.
Okay, we're just going to remind you that we will be giving you 3 minutes to answer the questions, and at about the 30-second left mark, I'm going to hold this up, so keep your eyes on me. Do not pass go. Do not connect $200. Okay, we will start with our first question.
First question tonight is, who wrote the lyrics to You Got a Friend in Me? I'm kidding. Question number 1 is, what do you believe your role is as an alderman in our community, or what would your role be as an alderman in our community? And I believe we're starting with Mr. Ingram.
Yes, yes,
Mr. Ingram?
Well, I believe, first of all, the first role of an alderman is simply to represent the people. So, to find out what's important to the people and to represent that. But also, as a leader, I believe it's also important to have ideas and strategies and priorities, which I have listed the most important of those, and to address those priorities to make Litchfield always a better place.
Awesome, thank you.
Hello. What really matters is the people that we represent. You know, we can do so much as council people, but there's some things we can't do solely on ourselves. You know, the administration has to do, you know, their part. We have to do our part. And if we don't, we're in trouble. We're in a lot of trouble. But the people that elect us, they're our bosses. We should do what they feel we should do. So a lot of things need to be done, and I think we can get it done together.
Okay, second question will be to you. If you received a $1 million grant to use for the city any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
I think the main thing, a couple of main things. First of all would be infrastructure. We're bad, you know, but, you know, I'd help or try, here again I said it's not I, but we try to get people homes, housing, that's in the works. $1 million bucks, we could do a lot. So, housing, education, industry, try to spend money to get industries in there, and do our best to try to get the city together.
Thank you.
I think very definitely, with $1 million, we'd look first at infrastructure. Obviously, infrastructure costs a lot of money, and is one of the primary things that the city has to do that individuals can't do. I mean, the city has to do infrastructure. So that would be the number one thing. And then probably set some aside as well for future projects. Many of the people in this room are familiar with the Hilton Foundation and other foundations, and to set a portion of that aside for future projects in the form of a foundation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, back to Mr. Ingram here. How do you propose to address the aging water, sewer, and electrical systems here in Litchfield? How do you propose to address the aging water, sewer, and electrical systems here in Litchfield?
Thank you for that question. I believe we need an actual plan. Our city public works department has, they know where they've been replacing water lines, etc., repairing those water lines, and so identifying the high priority needs. That is where most of the problems have been being experienced. Prioritize those areas first, and but then to develop a priority list for many years out until we can have, most neighborhoods, so that if I called up the city hall and said, when, am I on the list, that they could say, in the year whatever, 2031 or whatever it might be according to their plan.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Right now, there are things in the works to address the infrastructure. The TIF, that part of it downtown, they're working on that. They're also trying to get where we separate the rainwater from the sewage. That will help immensely. They're going to have to separate that because it's destroying the infrastructure on the water and the sewer lines. But it is being addressed, and again, it's not just one of us, it's gotta be the other 7 that agree on how we go about doing this. We can, plan, the main thing again is to separate those two so that it doesn't go through the sewer system and you wouldn't have a lot of these backup in basements. That's another thing that's being addressed, we're trying to do that. But it's awfully hard to get things done, like, you know, some people think it should be done tomorrow. It's not gonna happen, I'm not gonna lie to you, it is a difficult situation, and, you know, if anybody has any questions they wanna ask me later on, I put on my page that my name, my phone number, and anybody, I'll get you an answer. You might not like the answer, but I'll get you the answer you're looking for. So, again, let's all work together, see what we can do for the city of Litchfield.
Okay, next question. If you could change one zoning code, what would it be and why? Yes.
I think that all the ordinances that we have need to be.
Here, use that one.
Okay.
And you don't have to turn it on and off. Lauren is.
Yeah,
Sure. If you could change one zoning code, what would it be and why?
as again, all the ordinances that we have are outdated. We have some new ones and, you know, but they need to be reviewed and changed. We try to do what we were, you know, basically hired to do, but it's hard to say just one. There's so many that need changed, so I don't know. That's a good one.
Okay?
I'd have to agree with you. Just to add to that, I think, you know, a lot of times there are issues that arise and you go back and you look at those and think, oh, well, that's kind of weird. Never really had looked at the actual ordinance. And so, yeah, I think it often is on a case-by-case basis because it's just hard to say, well, we're going to set, you know, whatever and work on these ones. I think that would be difficult to do.
Okay, thank you.
Next question, how would you handle disagreements or conflicts with other members of the town council or with residents? Again, not here in Litchfield because this never happens, but how would you handle disagreements or conflicts if they were to arise?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever experienced any difficulties with anybody else in my life. Everybody just always agrees. No, people are, we always have to give respect to people, even those who have different viewpoints than us. You know, all people are important, and sometimes not all ideas are good ideas. But that doesn't mean that idea should not be still treated and taken seriously and actually considered. I've discovered that in the past, some of my best thought-through plans, what I thought were my best thought-through plans, were not always the best of ideas. And that other people sometimes have better ideas than I do. So just to listen to those, but always to treat people with respect.
Awesome, thank you.
You can always agree to disagree, but you have to find a medium. None of I won't say none of them, but a lot of times aldermen don't agree on issues, but yet we still work them out. And like they've said, you have to have respect for the other man, the other views. We're not always going to agree, but, you know, again, respect their ideas, where they're going to go, and work out a solution without fussing, fighting, and arguing. It doesn't accomplish anything. You just ruin whatever you're trying to do. So again, respect the other people's ideas and their thoughts, and work it out without all the bickering.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question. How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in our town?
Like I said before, if there's an issue that comes up, I try to get people in my ward to agree with me, disagree with me, tell me what their feelings are about an issue. You can't just arbitrarily make a decision on your own, because maybe the people of Litchfield don't want that, or our ward. So I had them call me, or I call them, get a consensus as to what they want, and how are we going to go about getting what they want. It's not my decision. There's been times when I have basically disagreed with the people of the Fourth Ward. But if that's their decision, you take the majority of what they want and go that route.
Thank you. No, don't touch it, don't touch it.
I think there are decisions of different magnitude. So certainly always trying to, I'm getting some feedback running, always trying to just know what the people of Ward 4 think and feel and how they're approaching a situation. I plan on having regular times when I'll probably sit at, shall I say, dare I say, our 2 coffee shops in town. And let the people of our ward know that I'm there, that they can come at set times and talk to me about particular items. For issues, many of us probably still remember, it hasn't been that long ago, the whole golf cart issue, which was very, shall we say, divisive. A lot of emotions running there would be to actually go door to door and just ask people what they think and touch base on that. By the way, if anyone is interested, I had no dog in that fight. I don't have a golf cart, don't play golf, and don't plan on buying one, so.
Okay, thank you.
While we're at it, what's your thoughts on golf? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, my goodness.
Last question. Where are your favorite places to spend time in our town? Good old Panther Nation. Where do you like to spend time? I believe it's
those of you who know me may know that I'm an elder at Southside Church, so I spend an enormous amount of time doing various things there. I'm also, once a year, we organize a project where we go out and do projects in town on people's homes to improve their homes. And then I also do various other volunteer activities. So, yeah, if you want to chat with me, you're welcome to come by the museum this coming Friday morning at 10 o'clock. Probably not the best place to chat, but actually at this time of year, it is a good place to chat because we don't get many visitors. So please come out to the museum Friday morning at 10 and let's chat. So basically doing volunteer activities.
The places I really enjoy is family and friends. That's what's important to me. We have a lot of places where we can have recreation, but excuse me. To me, the most enjoyable time is with family and friends.
Thank you. And then quickly, we'll just do a quick wrap up, like 1 minute, minute and a half kind of thing. We'll start with Greg.
Again, Litchfield has a lot of problems, but Litchfield is a good place to live right now. Yeah, we'll work through it, we'll get it done, but we can't do it alone. We have to do it with you all out there. It's a combination of working together to get situations done. And again, there is no I in team, and that's what we all are. So thank you for letting us be out here tonight. God bless y'all. Take care.
When I was in 10th grade, I took a U.S. government course, and I had to write my very first term paper. It was on the Bill of Rights, specifically the First Amendment. It was a horrible, horrible, horrible term paper. I am still embarrassed to this day that I wrote that, but it did impact me because it really started out my commitment to the U.S. Constitution as well as to our Bill of Rights. And so I deeply believe in that. My dad was in the oil industry, international, and so I grew up overseas. With that experience, I truly learned the importance of our country and especially our Constitution, Bill of Rights. On the other hand, as years have progressed, I've seen things happen on our federal level as you have. And I've come to believe, I've always been interested that we have term limits for the president, but not for Congress. I don't understand that. And about a few years ago, I started realizing that if we need to have term limits on our federal level, we need to start with term limits on our local level. So I believe that we need to introduce term limits for council members. I say for most elected officials, but coroner, judges, sheriffs, yeah, it's a different issue, but for council members, mayor, I think we need term limits. And but we also need active residents of our town. We have some great people in this town who can serve, and we also have some people who want to be involved in various ways. And so I just encourage you to be positive and contribute, whether it's Ray or I who get elected, that you will talk to us and share your ideas, even your complaints, if I may say so, and also your contributions. Thank you very much.
All right, here we go.
Good evening. Oh, no, you guys are all muted. Lauren handles the muting, so when it's your turn to talk, she'll turn your mic on, so don't mess with the button. Yes, because of the feedback issue, yes. Okay, we are going to start with introductions. We will start with Dwayne. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Okay? And if you start to get to the end here, I'm going to show this to you, okay? So, we'll start with introductions. Nope.
Okay. I'm Dwayne Darrell. I've lived in Litchfield for 73 years. I've raised 4 boys in here. I'm married to Nancy. I'm sorry, you gotta talk a little closer. But I own a body shop. I've owned a body shop for 43 years. I worked at Monterey Coal Company for 20 years. And I just enjoy Litchfield. So I want to be here to help support Litchfield.
Thank you.
I'm Dave Hollow. I'm 68 years old, lifelong resident of Litchfield. I've been married to my wife, Anne Marie, for 31 years. We raised 3 kids, have 10 grandkids and 3 great-grandkids. And I've been a self-employed building contractor here in town for probably 46 years now. So I've met a lot of people, dealt with a lot of people, and ready to move on.
Thank you.
All right, my name is Jacob Fleming. I'm 38 years old. I'm a lifelong resident of Litchfield. My campaign slogan is "The future is bright," and the reason I believe the future is bright is because of this room. It's about the people that are in here. I've been married to my lovely wife, who's also a lifer here. She's a teacher. Jennifer Ernst was her maiden name, now Fleming. And in the back in the nosebleeds are my 3 lovely children, my pride and joy, who allow me to do this while also chasing them around, coaching, and doing all the normal fun stuff I get to do in this time of life. I run a title company. I have 3 offices. I volunteer for a nonprofit, Together Litchfield Can. I've been blessed to be the president. I've been an alderman for 2 years. That's been fun, to say the least. I got a few more grays. And yeah, we're here for Litchfield, and a little plug at the end. If you want to learn more about me, I have a website. It's www.flemingformayor.com. It's Fleming with 1 M, not 2. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Am I there? So the fall of man recorded in Genesis 3, do you think that it was an apple or an avocado? I'm kidding. So question 1 tonight. Question 1, we'll start over here, Mr. Garrell. Question 1 is, my wife's not with me, so you see what happens when she's not. Question 1, what are your thoughts on the issue of homelessness in Litchfield, and how should the city address this?
I think we got a lot of problems with homeless people and drug people and stuff like that. But I think we gotta watch what we do. I think it could proceed into a lot more if we don't try to control this a little better. I personally think that we should have something around to help the kids out and help the people, but we gotta watch how we do it. Because you can drag a lot more people into town that we really don't need here. So.
Thank you. Mr. Howard?
Well, I think everybody that goes by and sees somebody on the side of the street with all the bags and stuff, I think we all feel for them. And I know I've read different things on Facebook and stuff. Everybody wants to help them out. The problem being is if the city took a stance to where they were going to put up a homeless shelter or something like that, word gets around. And I know we can't attract and become the homeless center in town, but I think there's some different organizations here in town. I know that the police department's been instructed on if they stop and talk to them, that they can point them in the right direction to where they can get some help. And I think probably as a city, we need to know what those organizations are, and I think the city probably needs to help those organizations help the people.
Okay, sounds good. I just want to encourage you to hold your microphone close to your mouth so everyone can hear.
Is that good? Can you hear me? Check. All right, perfect. Homelessness. Luckily for Litchfield, the last 3, 4, 5 years, John Magnuson, the Next Network, are addressing the drug issue. It all starts with a support network, and he's taking a lot of people out of that dark place and bringing them to a more positive place. It's not the end, it's about recovery. And if you don't follow the Next Network, I highly suggest you do. It's a big part of the future of this community. And I just want to say thank you to all those organizations. It's not about the city. Once again, it's about us fixing homelessness. It's not, the city shouldn't fix this. It's a community issue, and we need to support those organizations, period. And to Mr. Hall's point, when we talk about homeless shelters, we're a regional hub. I think we need to address our local homeless population, which we have them, and start small, all right? You don't want to build the Taj Mahal. People have talked about schools being homeless shelters. I don't think, you don't want to go big with this. You want to address the local population and help them through community organizations. That'd be my answer.
Okay, this question will start with Mr. Hollow. If you received a $1 million grant to use for the city, what one thing would you allocate it for?
When you talk about a whole city, $1 million does not go as far as what people would think it goes. I know we did a street, just Illinois Street, just did 2 blocks, and they completely redid the sewer system, sidewalks, curbs, and I believe that was right at $1 million just for that. So $1 million doesn't go a long way. Let's see, there's a lot of different directions that could go. Yeah, I don't know if I just had $1 million. If I had a lot more than that, I would like to see some more industry come to town. I think probably if $1 million was used as an incentive, it could probably help provide jobs for a lot more people and provide sales tax maybe.
Okay, thank you.
All right, $1 million. I know this isn't the, I don't know, let's use the word, the sexy pick, but we've had a lot of flooding. You're all awake now, aren't you? We've had a lot of flooding, and I would look at our infrastructure, especially our sewer and water infrastructure. Number one, $1 million doesn't go very far with sewer and water. And like you said, you really need to plan for the long term. That $1 million will get you going, but we need to create, right now with our budget, we go out about 10 years on the average. If we're gonna fix our sewer problem, we need to go out at least 30 years and slowly but surely fix the sewer problem. The flash flooding that's happened recently affected a lot of people. I remember going to homes and helping older people clean out stuff in their basement, and it needs to be fixed. I mean, generations ago, they went through and built our sewer infrastructure. It's time to invest in that sewer infrastructure and move forward. So yeah, if I had $1 million, I wouldn't do the sexy pick, but I'd fix the stuff underground, and hopefully it'll lead to more things above ground.
All I can say is these two are right. $1 million won't go very far as far as infrastructure and stuff goes. Well, okay. But anyhow, $1 million won't go very far doing infrastructure stuff. But, yeah, we could use it towards the power bill right now, okay? But what it boils down to, $1 million don't go very far. You can do what you can do, and that's all you can do with it, you know. I mean, we need a lot of infrastructure underneath these grounds. All the sewers, the waters, all this stuff. They're working on the water lines right now, taking lead pipes out and stuff like that. It's just getting crazy what the money it costs to do anything anymore. $1 million, like Dave said, and Jake said, it won't go very far. So, you gotta use it sparingly and use it to the best way you can.
Awesome. Mr. Fleming, with TIF districts set to expire in the near future, what are your viewpoints on how we can continue to enable and attract business development?
Well, number one, I don't know if you all know what happens if you max out a TIF when it expires in 10 years. Well, let's just say the 10 years comes up, okay? All that money is just distributed to all the other taxing bodies, the library, the school district, etc., park district. So we made this TIF to revitalize our downtown. Number one, a bird in hand is worth 2 in the bush, okay? I want to max out that TIF before that 10-year period and use it for what we intended, which is revitalizing those buildings downtown and places that have had blight, okay? So number one, with the TIF, in the 10 years we have it, let's maximize it. Recently, we started a business district, okay? That was somewhat of a controversial topic with sales tax, but the reason we did that was thinking long-term. The good thing about sales tax is I know it affects all of us, all right? But if you look at Springfield, Edwardsville, all the other places, they are at a similar bracket to we are, and they're all regional hubs. The best thing about the sales tax is other people are paying for our improvements, about 50%. That's why I was in favor of that. I'm thinking big picture. When the TIF expires, those things last 27 years, let's use other people's money to fix our town. So that's, and also with the TIF, do you know how much of our budget the TIF pertains to? It's roughly 3% of our gross, $30 million a year is a city budget, okay? We're talking about a minimal amount of funds overall. $1 million doesn't go that far. We all talked about it. All right, let's maximize that TIF to its full potential to fix Litchfield.
Okay, on the TIF then, we need a TIF to keep things going, to keep some of these businesses going. Like downtown right now, we've granted money for some of them people to fix up buildings, and they're doing a good job. And what it basically boils down to is when we get downtown going, I think it'll make the town a lot better. People go through our town and see empty buildings and stuff like that, it discourages them coming here. That TIF money will actually be good for that, and they're using it wisely. I've seen very good improvements on the downtown here lately. We've got 2 or 3 front door fronts that's all been fixed up and everything. And if it wasn't for the TIF, they wouldn't be able to do that because it's money out of their pocket. And it's kind of hard to take some time. So anything we can do to help people that's in business, we need to do.
Okay, the way I kind of remember the TIF district was not basically for the downtown. The TIF district went out and included the new commercial development. And when it was extended, we looked at how much of the area out there was still undeveloped. We'd still like to draw in more businesses. The TIF 1 brings in about $1.2 million a year. And in order to get the other taxing bodies to go along with it, we agreed to surplus 1/3 of that back to them. And so the actual money that comes into the city is more $700,000 or $800,000. And with that, you can use that to give incentives to the businesses that want to come in out there, which creates sales tax, which is more of an income to the city than what the TIF district is. The sales tax that's brought in by basically the Chamber of Commerce, all the guys that are out there in business, amounts to about $4 million. What we need to do in order to continue to bring money in is to bring more business in, more sales tax in. The stuff that's going on in the downtown, I don't really agree with. The contracts that have been let out to different individuals and developers has been a deal where they've been paying 50% of all of the costs of redoing it, with nothing tied to how much sales tax it's going to bring in or how many jobs it's going to create. There's nothing that is being audited to see if that's the best way to spend the money. Jake brought up the sales tax, and that was something that I opposed. The city raised the sales tax to 9.25%, which they said that was going to take over for the income that was going to be lost when TIF 1 expired. But you have to look at how many people in Litchfield are going paycheck to paycheck to make ends meet. We're talking about the homeless and how much poverty there is. Litchfield right now, I believe, is 19.4% of a poverty level. So that means about every 5th person is having a hard time making ends meet. They don't need to pay that extra sales tax.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Garrell, would you rather invest city effort in downtown or the west side of town, and why?
Well, we definitely need to get something in the west side of town to help bring money into the town. You know, we got a lot of money sitting over there doing nothing right now. And the thing about it is until we put something out there, it's not gonna bring anything into us. So we do have to make downtown look good too. People have to be presentable. People wanna come to town, they don't wanna look at empty buildings, they don't wanna look at stuff like that either. Just like they don't wanna look at the empty ground out on the west side of I-55. You know, we got empty Corvette Drive that needs to be filled up. You know, anytime we can fill any of that up, it's gonna help this town. And, you know, personally, I think we need to really concentrate real hard on the west side of I-55, Corvette Drive, and keep our town going. So, okay?
I think probably we need to have a balance. We don't need to go one direction only. I think probably my priority would, like I said, still be the west side of town, because that's what's going to create an income for the city to be able to continue with projects. I know I'll bring up a subject that sore point for a lot of people, but that TIF money in the west side over there, there was a project that was put forth to build a sports park. And I think that would have been a huge win for the city to get that. That would have been a good thing for families here in town to be able to attend sports tournaments there rather than having to travel out of town. I know the plan that was put in place, it included grant money, it included TIF money, and it included money from donors. And it would have completely paid for itself, and it would have increased revenues substantially from developing that area. So that fell through. The council voted that project down, but I think we still need to be looking that direction, and we still need to do something for the kids in town, and I think that's probably a good area to do it.
All right, downtown versus the west side. Like I said, a bird in hand, it really depends on demand. And I think you phrased the question, you know, the city, you know, should the city develop this? Well, the west side was developed by the city, and it's gonna end up costing us $15 to $20 million. The city developed that. I think we should develop, the city should never, ever, ever be a developer. We should not be competing with the private sector. We should be incentivizing you all through the TIF district to invest by helping you with infrastructure or giving you a percentage, and then you as a private investor invest on the west side. If I were around when the west side was developed, I wouldn't have fully developed it as a city, and I would have darn sure made sure I had somebody that was willing to come in to the west side. So to answer your question, I mean, the city cannot be a developer. We need to continue using TIF funds to incentivize the private sector to invest in our city. And I think that's the way to go. Downtown, I think we're getting there with the funds you were talking about for the soccer park. We've divvied that up to 5, 6, 7, 8 businesses in the last year. Downtown's gonna look a lot different here really soon. And that's been an issue if you look online. Listen to what you say. It's not what I think, it's what you think. And downtown's been an essential issue. The west side is gonna develop, we're gonna get someone out there, but at the end of the day, the city cannot be a developer.
When you asked that question, I was considering the commercial development. What Jake is talking about as far as the west side and the industrial park is not even in the TIF zone, so none of the TIF money can go there. The TIF money can only be used within the boundaries of that TIF.
Okay. You good? You can respond.
Yeah, I think the point was more so that having a private investor who wanted to be on the west side would have been what I would have tried to have before. You know, if you build it, they will come. Well, we built it, they haven't come. So that's kind of the point I'm making.
Okay, wait a minute. I wanted to respond to that. We built it, they haven't come. Had we had it built earlier, When I first got elected alderman, I think that project had been going on for 2 or 3 years. Well, we did bring that project to fruition, and it's here. But had it been here, I don't know, 5 or 6 years earlier maybe, according to the manager of Walmart, the past white manager, we were on the bubble for a Walmart distribution center here. That would have been here. From what I understand, the truck stop that's down in Hamel right now, they looked at Litchfield first. We did not have water, we didn't have sewer, we didn't have power over there. And so it's a deal where if you build it, they'll come, but you have to be ready.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else want to say anything? Number 5, with the state of Illinois being, this is Mr. Hollow, with the state of Illinois being a less than ideal state for manufacturing jobs, how do you plan to attract and enable other residents, such as remote workforce?
Now, I don't really know how to answer that as far as how you would attract a remote workforce. I know in the past, Allscripts was brought to town, and I know we worked closely with Jim Hewitt and some of the guys that he was in business with, and basically we were just available. They needed help when they weren't going to get fired up with the building. The city gave them a substantial amount of money to be able to put the addition onto the old Maverick Steakhouse. We worked with them quite closely, and I think at one point in time they had 100 people here that were basically they were working remote from home, and then they were coming in sometimes to the building here. And basically what soured that was going gangbusters, and then COVID hit. And so that's kind of what shut that down, but we were available to listen. They came in, they told us what they needed, and we made it happen.
Awesome, thank you. Mr. Fleming?
Yeah, remote workers, it all starts with our youth. All right, so I had a conversation with a constituent the other night, and he said, you know, I don't remember the last valedictorian that stayed in Litchfield. They always go to Chicago or the coast. How can we retain our youth in this community? And I'm not going to pretend I have the answer for you, but it starts with asking our youth and having them involved, because at the end of the day, I can speak. All my children are way better at technology than I am. My son's actually on it right now back there. Sorry to call you out on that. But with remote work, it starts with our youth. And one other thing you'll notice with remote workers, you know, the downtown, you know, they need a place to go. They need, you know, we have wonderful coffee shops. In the last few years, we've built lots of coffee shops in Litchfield. We have a downtown place to eat again. Some of these TIF funds are working on a downtown business. Getting that hip, cool area for those remote workers to go will go a long way. But at the end of the day, it starts with our youth and reaching out to them, because they're going to be those remote workers one day. So that'd be my answer for that.
I wanted to know about remote workers. I just feel that when they're remotely working, they're not coming to town, they're not eating, they're not doing things like that here, they're not spending money. You know, I just don't believe in remote work, but I guess they're gonna have it and they're gonna do it no matter what. Just like Hewitt, like Dave said, they built a beautiful building there, took an older building, turned it into a nice building, and all of a sudden they shut it down. We lost 80, 90 people right there. My stepson worked there, you know, and he's working from home now. And what basically boils down to, they don't spend money when they're working from home like they normally would. So we need to get stuff going to where we can get them here.
Okay, where are we? Are we at J? Okay. With distribution centers building heavily near interstate interchanges on the outskirts of St. Louis, specifically the 255-270 interchange. How can the city of Litchfield adapt and enable itself to stay relevant in the logistics and distribution industry?
You know, that's an interesting question. Obviously, I'd love to have a distribution center built out there where we've got this infrastructure, and we're going to push for that hard, you know, in that regard. But one thing that a lot of people don't talk about in Litchfield that I think is really going to help us with this infrastructure is we have an airport. I don't know if you paid attention to some of the cities. I'm not saying this is a good or bad thing, but drones are becoming more and more important. Maybe that airport could help us get an Amazon closer and maybe use facilities for drones to deliver your packages one day. This is in the future, okay? But our airport and us being a regional hub is giving us a big advantage, and I'm going to pursue all opportunities. I don't think I have the answer. The issue is we have built it, now we need them to come. So those distribution centers are going to be a focal point. For me, it'd be great to have one, supply jobs, and that's where a lot of jobs are going right now. So great question.
Okay, would you tell me that again?
Want me to repeat the question? Sure. With distribution centers building heavily near interstate interchanges on the outskirts of St. Louis, specifically the 255-270 interchange, how can the city of Litchfield adapt and enable itself to stay relevant in the logistics and distribution industry?
Okay, Jake was right. We got a few things here in town that could help us out a lot, like the airport. We got trucking companies in this town and stuff that could help us out. But the money problem is the money. With COVID hit and everything going the way it is, you know, it's going to take a long time to get things going out there. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but I don't look for anything in the next few years to come in here. I think we need to really concentrate hard on trying to get something here. But yes, we got them there, but there's a long way between 55 and here before they come. So we got to figure a way to get them to look at our town first, okay?
When you're trying to attract somebody to come to town, like a distribution center, or any other business, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of town. Everybody's looking for more industry, more distribution centers, more. I mean, they want the business and they want the jobs. The one way that Litchfield's going to attract them is through the economic development. That was one of the whole reasons that the long-term economic development fund was put into place. It was something that past councils looked at. They knew we needed to have a working cash capital fund that if there was incentives that needed to be paid, that would be a way of attracting and helping with moving costs or relocation or training or whatever needed to be happen to bring a business to town. So I think probably good management of money and being able to strike while the iron's hot is what we're going to need to have.
Okay, next question. How do you propose to address the aging water, sewer, and other similar infrastructure issues here in Litchfield?
Well, first thing, we got to get grant money and stuff to help us out and try to get things going. It seems like every sewer and water in this town needs repaired. It's an older town. You know, it's going to take a lot of money and a lot of time. It's not going to be done overnight, and it's just going to take a lot of things going and a lot of people working hard to try to get grant money and stuff going so we can get things processed moving. And once we get it, then we can see what we can do. But it's going to take a lot more than $1 million, I'll tell you that right now. You know, and we need to work on them. We got sewer lines in this town where people backed up in their house, everything else. So, you know, we just got to try to help the people out, try to get what we can done with the amount of money we got to work with.
This is going to be a big problem moving forward because there are a lot of, I don't know how many miles of water and sewer lines that we have in Litchfield, but everything for the most part has been in the ground for a long time. If you've seen all the street crews out working, I mean, they've got water line breaks all the time that they're working on. I've seen sewer lines give way that had to have huge holes put in and sleeves put in there. And I said, just all amounts to a lot of money. And you can apply to the state or the federal government, you can get grants, but it's always a deal where they will go part of it. I mean, it's not a deal where you're going to get 100% grant. It's a deal where you have to have matching funds, and you either borrow the money at low interest rates, and then that turns into having to raise everybody's water and sewer rates. And I know that's something that nobody wants, including myself. But I know the city's looking at right now having to replace the sewer plant, and that's going to be like a $25 million project to replace the sewer plant that we have. And if you look at what the sewer rates are right now, I mean, that's going to just blow people out of the water. I don't know how people could afford to live here if they had to fund a $25 million project. Right now, I built a house, and the only thing I had hooked up was water. The water bill cost me $22.54 a month, and that was for a minimum charge. I probably only used 10 gallons a month, but that's a minimum charge for 2,000 gallons. I just recently got the sewer line hooked up to it, and my bill is now going to be $84 a month. So the sewer projects, I say I don't have an answer for it. It's going to have to be a deal where the council is going to have to get together with the administrator, and we're going to have to come up with a plan. And I don't have it at this time.
All right, water and sewer. So when I became an alderman 2 years ago, I was one of the new guys, and they made me the liaison to that wonderful department. So the people do great work with ancient infrastructure. Our sewer treatment plant is like straight out of the 1950s. Our water treatment plant is wonderful, high end, but guess what? That water is going into ancient pipes. Okay, the issue isn't the plant; it's the pipes. And in my neighborhood in particular, a while back, we had a pipe burst. It happens. We couldn't find the pipe. It's an old line. I mean, number one, it's going to start with, we have people in our water and sewer, we have the best water and sewer workers. Our workers are our best asset. But they've got a hard task, all these ancient lines. And I think number one, we got to map it. There's a lot of people back there, it's all up in here. We got to map out, get the coordinates of everything, number one. And then, I talked about it, the city does a 10-year plan. Water and sewer is a 30, 40, 50-year plan. We need to budget it, and every time we dig up a road, we're doing the sewer, okay? We have it budgeted, we go. This isn't something that's gonna be fixed overnight. How you fix it is you analyze the problem, and you come up with a plan, a 30-year plan. It's not gonna get fixed overnight, but we can fix it if we get the data. That'd be my solution.
Okay, we've given you a lot of heavy-hitting questions, so take a deep breath, because this is an easy one. Mr. Hollow.
True.
Where are your favorite places to spend time in our town?
Well, I do like to eat a lot, and we do have a lot of restaurants. Me and my wife go for a lot of rides. We tend to spend a lot of time driving out past the lake. We check that out. We take a ride out to the new subdivision that's out there at the lake. Can't really say that there's a lot of entertaining things that I do. One of my favorite spots, I guess, would probably be my recliner when I get done working. Yeah, I don't know if I could really give you a whole list of favorite spots that I've got in town. I like the town as a whole.
Well, I have 3 young children, and, you know, kids like to be in technology, so a good way to get them off technology is to go to all of our lovely parks. We have a lot of great parks here in Litchfield. I live by the lake. It's a great asset to this community, Lake Lou Yeager. We need to continue to take care of that. You know, I think we could use some more trails around here. That'd be something I think a lot of people would be interested in. But in general, the other thing is I don't know. I like going to the high school, and my wife's heavily involved. She coaches basketball. I always have fun supporting the youth at the high school, and of course all the businesses. There's so many in Litchfield. But in general, I think I like going to the parks and enjoying them. I think the park district does a really good job at the parks.
I guess me now, huh? Well, here's the deal. I don't spend a lot of time. I basically travel quite a bit during the summer and stuff, so I'm not around a lot. But when my grandkids are playing soccer, I like to go down and watch them play it at the community center and stuff. I just like going for rides. My kids go out to the lake. We go boating and stuff, skiing and stuff, and play around on the lake. We got a nice lake lot. We go out there and spend some time. But I'm usually going drag racing all summer, so I'm sorry, but I spend as much time as I can. I like to go in my back garage and work on my cars, okay? So that's my favorite pastime.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, last question. When you replace a roll of toilet paper on the roll, which direction? I'm kidding. Here we go. Last question. This is going to be our wrap up. We've enjoyed all the responses tonight, so thank you for that. Who we at here? Who's going first? Mr. Fleming. So last question is, what makes you best guy for the job? And you can just wrap this up in about a minute and a half, and we'll give each of you that. Any closing thoughts and your response to that question?
Gotcha. No, I'll make this quick. It's been a long night. Thank you everyone for coming. But you know, what's my idea? Me, it's not about my ideas. If you've looked at my last 2 years in office, look me up, go to my website, one more plug, FlemingFromHere.com. Look what I've done. The info that's been shared, meetings being recorded, questions being asked to the public. I've made it a lot easier to talk to and know what's going on in government. It's about us at the end of the day. If I become mayor, I'm going to continue that trend. All good mayors empower the people they serve. That's why I want to be mayor. And for those kids back there, for all of you, you're the reason the future of Litchfield's bright. All right, you guys. And I want to end with this. All right, it's a quote. All great leaders do these 3 things in my mind. So keep this in the back of your head when you're voting. Okay. A great leader listens to learn, leads to serve, and inspires to transform. All right, think about that. So when you're voting for the candidate up here that you think is going to do those things, please do. The most important thing is vote. I want whoever represents us up here to be a representative of all of the people of Litchfield. We've had horrible voter turnout. Thank you for coming. All right. Please remind your friends to vote. We need to represent you. And at the end of the day, if most of the people vote, whoever wins, I'm going to shake their hand and we're going to keep moving forward. I truly believe the future of Litchfield's bright. Thank you for your time.
Well, I've been an alderman for 14 years, and I've tried to do my best. There's not a time you can ask my employees that during 4, 5, 6 people, up to 10 or 12 people a week come into my shop wanting to talk about the city. I take my time out and talk to them. I try to do the best I can for what them people want, and that's what we got to think of. We got to think of, like Jay said, the young kids in this town. You know, so many young kids get in this town and then they turn around and leave, you know, when they get a little older. We need something for them kids to be here and stay here. So we need to concentrate really hard on that so we can keep our kids here. And that's what I'd really like to see happen.
Hello?
What was the question again?
Yeah.
I was thinking
Just in your closing thoughts, anything you want to add, but the question is, what makes you the best guy for the job? Minute and a half.
Okay. I served as an alderman for 12 years. Before that, I served on the planning commission for 2. And during the time that I was an alderman, I know that I was probably a pest at City Hall because I was always up there. I stopped in almost daily, wanted to know what was going on. checked into the projects. There were a lot of times where I would go to additional meetings. I've gone to meetings with different towns trying to sell them water, and the more water you sell, the cheaper it gets. I mean, so that's what we were trying to do. We were trying to increase the production of water to keep it cheap for everybody here in town. But, and moving on, as I said, I put the time in, and I plan on continuing to put the time in. If I'm elected mayor, I will have hours at the city hall that people will know what time I'm going to be there. If they need to stop in, they need to talk to the mayor, that they can make an appointment and I'll be there, or they can walk in if I don't have anybody in the office with me. When I first became an alderman, the whole reason, boy, a minute and a half went fast. I guess I'll just quit here.
Hey, let's give it up for all of our candidates tonight. I want to, on behalf of the Litchfield Chamber, we want to thank you so much for coming. Candy.